Hello, so I thought I'd go through final revision before your actual exam tomorrow. Don't let me down, okay? Please do it well, do it once, do it well. Alright, so first thing is to talk about purpose. When you do purpose, the why question, it is a why question, right? Right? Always start with the context first. What is happening during that time that led to the production of this source? Right? Answer as a reason. So make sure you have the word because. Alright, it's very important to write the word because. Right? It's produced because then the same things convince, convince, then have the action verb, strong action verb, the significant specific audience, and then tell me what the message is. Alright, and the message has to be a specific message that is short and sweet. If your message is more than 2 lines, something is wrong. You have to make it short and sweet to the point, and if you can, link it to the main inquiry. Alright, the whole source base is about one main inquiry, which is on the first page of your paper. You will see the main inquiry question. Use it as a hint to help you get the message. More or less, the message will relate to your main inquiry. Okay, then evidence explain. Make sure all your evidence is relevant. Alright, show me how you can derive the message from your evidence. Make sure all the key characters, all the key topics are present in your evidence. Make sure your explanation has strong links. Again, 2 to 3 lines linking your evidence to your inference. Alright, and finally outcome, what the author wants the audience to do. Okay, so let's go through some common mistakes. Weak action. So you have to check your answer, especially for this question, because if you do not check, it's very obvious that the marker will find out and he will penalize you. Number one, action verb. Be careful, do not use tell because tell is a wrong action verb. Alright, you have to use convince. So the Soviet wanted to convince the Russians. Again, people, change it to Russians. Give me specific audience. Okay, next, vague message. The Soviet wanted to convince the Russians about the Americans. Can you see? What about the Americans? Right, please be specific. Don't write about the Americans. Don't write also Americans are bad. Alright, very generic type of inferences that has no link whatsoever to my main issue. Right, so again, link it to the main issue of the whole source based question. Okay, on the other side, you see the Soviets wanted to convince the Russians Americans were aggressors. Again, short and sweet message, links to the issue, and is very, very specific. Now, lifted message. Okay, this is very obvious. If the evidence say American imperialists wanted to conquer Korea, and you say the message is that they want to conquer Korea, you're just lifting. Again, this is bad. Please check you do not lift. Not about the bigger issue. The message the Soviet wanted to convince the Russian that Americans are in conflict with the Soviet Union. So what if they are in conflict? What does this mean in the context of the Korean War? Alright, the main topic is the Korean War. So this has no issue with the Korean War at all. So it is wrong. Alright, next, convince the Russian to rise up against the Americans. This is the common mistake because this is an action, right? This is the outcome to rise up against the Americans. It is not the message, it is the outcome. The message is the reason. Again, I say the message is the reason for the outcome, which should be because Americans are the aggressors in the Korean War. Hence, we want you to rise up against the Americans. Alright. Number 7, evidence does not match. If let's say you don't convince the Russians that Americans are the aggressors in the Korean War, okay, by your evidence you say the South Korean instigated the Korean War. So where in this evidence do I see about the Americans? Nowhere. So this is invalid evidence, right? Number 8, to convince the Russians that Americans are aggressors in the Cold War, and then you give me the evidence, and then when you explain, you say this means that Americans are the aggressors. You're just simply repeating the inference, so this is not good. make sure you have 2 to 3 lines. What does it mean to be aggressors? Aggressors means you instigated the war, you played a decisive role, you planned the attack, and you wanted to gain influence. That's the meaning of being an aggressor. So you have to give me 2-3 lines to explain the evidence clearly and how it links to your inference or your message. Alright, so that's it for the basic question. Please get at least 3 to 4 marks for this question because it's the easiest, okay?